Hello YouTube, welcome to another video by Everyday Oppression. First I'm going to do half of this video in regards to my personal life, and then the second half will be something that happened recently in my home city of Edmonton, Alberta. First, the good news. Basically, I just spent the last weekend camping with my folks. Today I helped my father and my mother take down the trailer because we're no longer going to be camping anymore. The weather has gotten a lot colder. Autumn is now, reared its ugly head. The campground actually closed down as well, so there's no point in having the trailer there anymore, and so my father decided to store it all up. We drove back to my parents' home city, and then I helped him basically set it up ready for the coming winter. So there will be no longer any camping with my folks, but it was really nice to get together with them one last time just to, enjoy the last hurrah for camping before winter sets in. It was very interesting because the way that we took this down was that my mother just took over the inside of the trailer with cleaning things up, putting the food away from the fridge into the coolers. And my father decided to do most of the outdoor stuff in regards to setting down the trailer, taking the garbage out, cleaning up the campsite, and then I was left to do a lot of the in-between stuff. It was really nice because there's no interjection of politics or, gender roles or what women are supposed to do, what men are supposed to do.
It's not right for a woman to read. Soon she starts getting ideas and thinking.
It just basically was agreed upon that my mother would do all the inside cleaning chores and my father would do the outside cleaning chores, and me, their offspring, would just kind of help along with the in-between stuff. So everything, what normally would probably take other campers maybe 45 minutes to an hour to take down, my family managed to take it down in about 15 minutes. So, it's pretty good all together. Next weekend is going to be Thanksgiving up here in Canada, which I'll be spending time with my folks. And it is my birthday next week. So, yay! Believe it or not, I will be turning 32. And I really don't have any idea what I'm going to do for my birthday celebration. I am hoping to plan a neon bowling event, maybe with some dinner and drinks afterwards. Most of my friends just want to get me drunk, so we'll see how that goes.
It's my party and I cry if I want to, cry if I want to, cry if I want to. You would cry too if it happened to you.
So yeah, birthday next week, Thanksgiving dinner with the folks next week, camping is all done, and we'll go into fall, and then it'll be scarf season. Alright guys, so now after the intro, I'm going to talk about the opposite side of this event, and I'm going to discuss the bad news. So,
hold on to your butts.
the second part of this video, which is going to be the bad news. It looks like Edmonton, Alberta.
We're a city of champions. We are Edmonton.
Has experienced a terrorist attack.
What?
Yes, a terrorist attack. You've heard correctly.
Tell me more.
This happened on the evening of September 30th, morning of October 1st, so just this weekend. It turns out that there was a terrorist attack involving vehicles, the car of peace, go through a barricade of an event that was being held in Edmonton, a football event, where a cop was thrown 15 feet into the air and then proceeded to be stabbed viciously by the driver.
Suddenly and without notice, and at a high rate of speed, a male driving a white Chevrolet Malibu crashed through the traffic barricades that were separating vehicles from pedestrians. The vehicle struck the police officer, sending him flying into the air 15 feet before colliding with the officer's cruiser, again at a high rate of speed. A male, believed to be 30 years old, then jumped out of his vehicle and viciously attacked the Edmonton Police Service member with a knife. A struggle then ensued, during which the male suspect stabbed the officer several times before fleeing the scene on foot, northbound, down 92nd Street.
So this is one event which actually happened quite close to where I live. Yeah, so it's this a few short blocks away from the home. You know, it's kind of hitting me a little bit hard here. The second event that happened was that apparently this same driver was driving a U-Haul truck and along Jasper Avenue got pulled over for a check stop. And the cops realized that the man's license matched up with the description of the car owner from the first event. So they matched this up, and getting caught, the driver in his U-Haul sped through and ran over 4 pedestrians. The car eventually flipped, and then he ran out on pursuit, but the cops actually arrested him, and now they have him in custody. So in this video, I'm just going to add a few links here in regards to the CBC News coverage of it, what Justin Trudeau, our Prime Minister, has said about it, as well as Rachel Notley. So I'll include those in the links below, and then I'm going to go talk about what I feel in regards to the response of our political leaders on this.
Just before midnight, a U-Haul truck was pulled over at a check stop location on Wayne Gretzky Drive and 112th Avenue. A police officer asked to see the license of the driver. When the document was presented, the officer recognized the name as being very similar to the registered owner of the Chevy Malibu. The U-Haul truck immediately fled the scene and was pursued by police officers towards downtown Edmonton. Throughout the chase, the truck deliberately attempted to hit pedestrians in crosswalks and alleys in 2 areas along Jasper Avenue. Currently, we know of at least 4 citizens that have been injured and taken to hospital. The event concluded when the U-Haul truck flipped on Jasper Avenue due to police interaction. The driver was apprehended and is currently in police custody. It is believed at this time that these 2 incidents are related.
So just a quick recap, if you go to the cbc.ca news, they have this to say about it. So it looks like the assailant who ran over 4 pedestrians and brutally, viciously attacked a cop by stabbing him. Supposedly it's a 30-year-old man who is in custody following a high-speed chase just before midnight through streets filled with bar patrons and football fans. A man stabbed a police officer with a knife and deliberately plowed into pedestrians on Edmonton's busiest downtown strip. So this would be Jasper Ave. Edmonton City Police Chief Rod Necht confirmed that a black ISIS flag was seized from a car where the police officer was attacked. The officer was not critically injured. The condition of the 4 pedestrians is not known. So nobody's really died from this attack yet, but the cop, Constable Mike Chernick, was the officer that was stabbed, which we have security video footage about that attack, and then 4 pedestrians as well. So thankfully nobody was killed, and let's wish them a speedy recovery. Based on evidence at the scenes and the actions of the suspect, it was determined that these incidents are being investigated as acts of terrorism. So even though these 2 instances were separate, they are actually involving the same person, which means that they are joined together. So the message right now going along all the radio stations and CBC News, Edmonton Journal, is that hatred has no place in Alberta. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Duh. Let's just see what Alberta Premier Rachel Notley has to say about it.
Thank you for coming. The horrific events last night in downtown Edmonton have left us all shocked and angry. Shocked at the indiscriminate cruelty and angry that someone might target their hatred at places where we gather with our friends and our families. Our thoughts and prayers are with the injured and with their loved ones, and with everyone who witnessed last night's violence. Our first responders are incredible people. Thank you to each and every one of our police officers, paramedics, and firefighters who put their lives on the line to keep us safe. Thank you also to the women and men who dropped everything to help their fellow Albertans. Your bravery in moments of fear and your compassion in moments of chaos are what's very best about us. The first question that I asked my officials is the public safe? They said yes. They believe we are safe. But that doesn't mean anyone is taking anything for granted. Our police officers and public safety officials remain vigilant as the investigation proceeds. The provincial role in responding to these horrific acts is to support police services generally and to support the interaction between municipal authorities and federal authorities. That's exactly what we're doing. Provincial officials are currently working with the Edmonton Police Service, the RCMP, and other public safety officials to keep citizens safe and prosecute the person responsible. I am confident in the efforts of all of our law enforcement officials to keep our province safe and secure. Alberta, we must stand together in defense of our loved ones, friends, and neighbors, and against anyone who seeks to divide us through fear, hate, and violence. To that end, I've spoken with Edmonton's Chief of Police, the Mayor of Edmonton, Muslim community leaders, and will be speaking with the Prime Minister shortly. Hatred and extremism have no place in Alberta. Freedom and liberty are core to who we are as Albertans, and that core will never be divided by those who know only fear, violence, and hatred. Extremism, in all its forms, in all its settings, must be rooted out wherever it is seen. At the same time, our ability to get through this, and we will get through this, rests in our solidarity with people and families in all communities, from all cultures, who share and respect our basic and immovable belief that each and every human life matters. In short, there is no place for terrorism in Alberta, and we will do everything possible to stop it in its tracks in our home. As we learn more about what happened last night, I encourage everyone to remain vigilant and listen to law enforcement authorities. Hatred has no place in the province of Alberta. It is not who we are. We are in this together, and together we are stronger than any form of hate. Thank you.
From the mouth of our leaders. I find it very interesting the fact that Rachel Notley had to include Muslim representatives in her statement. And obviously that's understandable considering that the driver had an ISIS flag within their vehicle as they rammed over 4 pedestrians and viciously stabbed a cop. So ISIS is a group of terrorists that are around the world, and they constantly attack others with terror and violence, and with the purpose not to create fear. Fear is already there, ladies and gentlemen. The whole purpose of ISIS followers and ISIS supporters is to kill as many people as they can, regardless of your background, regardless of your race, and regardless of your political or religious background. Their purpose is to kill. And what Rachel Notley here has done has focused more on creating fear instead of blatantly stating the obvious that this driver was attempting to kill someone. Okay, so it's not about fear, ladies and gentlemen. It's about murdering your enemies. It's about killing as many people as you can in the name of ISIS and then in the name of Islam. So Rachel Notley here, look, I do support the idea that we can't really just jump to conclusions. We can't solve a hatred problem with more hate. So yes, we need to think of this rationally. Yes, we need to think of this in a calm manner. To not do what ISIS supporters want us to do, and is to react in a very emotional, scared manner. Okay, so we need to keep our heads on this. That I agree with. However, you got to put your foot down sometime. Okay, these are innocent people who were run over by an ISIS supporter. Okay. It's very interesting, too, that all the CBC News coverage on this, they're not identifying the man responsible via their race or their name. Okay, so we have evidence that the police know this character by name, but so far we are not identifying this man by name or his race. So there is a slight pattern of terrorism here in the United States and Canada, and of course across Europe, where most terrorist attacks of this nature tend to be Middle Eastern, Muslim-supported men. It's not bad to assume that the identity of this terrorist here in Edmonton is going to be a brown Middle Eastern person. Now, obviously, that's not 100% true. We don't know yet, and it could be anybody. Hell, it could be even a white guy. We don't know. But it's not a bad thing to fall back on the pattern that the terrorist might be Muslim, especially since the police confirmed that an ISIS flag was in the vehicle when they found it. All right, now it's time to hear the official statement as to what Justin Trudeau has said about the Edmonton terrorist attack.
Because it's 2015.
So if you go to the pm.gca.canada website, so pretty much anything to do with the Prime Minister, this is what Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, has to say about the Edmonton terrorist attack right now. The Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, today issued the following statement after a terrorist attack in Edmonton. The Government of Canada and Canadians stand with the people of Edmonton after the terrorist attack on Saturday that sent an Edmonton Police Service officer to hospital and injured a number of innocent people who were out to cheer on their football team and to enjoy an evening in their city. I am deeply concerned and outraged by this tragedy. Our thoughts are with those injured, their family and friends, and all those affected by this senseless act of violence. I am also grateful for the first responders who were there on the scene, and the enforcement authorities who have been working through the night to make sure that everybody in Edmonton and Alberta is safe and secure. Police officers put themselves at great personal risk every single day on our behalf, and this attack is a stark reminder of the sacrifices they make for the public good. While the investigation continues, early reports indicate that this is another example of the hate that we must remain ever vigilant against. The RCMP and the Edmonton Police Service, through the Integrated National Enforcement Team, are working closely together to bring those involved to justice. We cannot and will not let violent extremism take root in our communities. We know that Canada's strength comes from our diversity, and we will not be cowed by those who seek to divide us or promote fear. Edmonton is a strong and resilient city, and I am confident that its citizens will support one another to overcome this tragic event. Seems pretty similar to what Rachel Notley said in her speech.
Coincidence? I think not!
Good on you for actually claiming this as it is, a terrorist attack. So good on you, because prior, in the past, Justin Trudeau has dismissed terrorist attacks and called it something else. So kudos for you for calling it for what it is. It's hard, guys. It's hard because it happened pretty close to where I live. This is what Europeans are dealing with. This is what America is dealing with. And now it's crossing into our borders. And not only into our borders, but into my home city. Like just a few blocks down from where I live. So now it's really starting to hit close to home. And I find that it is my hopes that Justin Trudeau, Rachel Notley, the police force, and the RCMP will deal with this accordingly, and that this man, once he's identified properly, that he will suffer the swift justice hand of the law in the attempt to kill a cop and 4 innocent pedestrians. These people didn't do anything wrong, and the cop there was just doing his job at the first event as he was flipped 15 feet into the air and viciously stabbed. So Canadians, I really value Canadian perspectives on this, that even though despite what side of the political spectrum you sit on, when it comes to attacks like this, we are more than willing to identify a problem and fix this problem and deal with it accordingly. So it doesn't matter if you're more conservative. It doesn't matter if you're liberal. As Rachel Notley says, hatred has no place in Alberta. I hope that our government will deal with this accordingly. And if it doesn't, the Liberal government, if they try to brush this under the rug as if it's nothing, I won't be surprised. But as long as it's dealt with, the better off we'll all be. So I was at the campground when my roommate texted me this story, and I mentioned it to my parents, and my mom's first reaction was, "Is that the same neighborhood that you live in?" And I told her, yes and no, it's quite close, but it wasn't in my neighborhood. So my mother's initial reaction was about the well-being of myself and about my living circumstances within the neighborhood to which the first attack happened. My father, being a retired Royal Canadian Mounted Police, so a Mountie, being a retired cop himself, he asked, well, did they shoot the suspect? And I said, no, they caught him in a car chase. The U-Haul truck flipped, and they arrested him accordingly. My father's response was, well, they should have shot the bastard. Yeah, so let's see where it heads, guys. Let's see what the news covers. Terrorism is not tolerated in Alberta, and I certainly don't want it in my neighborhood. I don't want it in my city, and I certainly don't want it in Canada. And I hope that our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, deals with it accordingly and not take the PC approach, not take the cowards approach, and deals with this for what it is. Alright guys, if you like this video, you know the drill, like and subscribe. I will include all the links to the news in the bio below, so check out for that. And I will see you all next time. Take care of one another. Bye.
We currently believe this individual acted alone. The investigation is in its very early stages, and we are urging Edmontonians to be vigilant and aware of their surroundings. Contact police if you see anything suspicious or hear anything suspicious or concerning.